Greetings, Twitchland. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. Bit of a rush this morning. A couple things needed to get done. I wanted to come on at least for a little bit today and do some writing, as we've been doing. Thanks as always to everybody tuning in. Yeah, a few viewers. Could be the usual suspects. Let's see. So I had a totally non-game related question from somebody about musical instruments. So let me just quickly find the info for this person. Might be hearing a dog crunching in the background. Alright, time to get to work. It's funny, another friend of mine, Kim Diller, is a clothes designer and artist, also a singer, did this whole little video on when you're working for yourself, what it's like talking to your boss about taking time off. And I thought that was really interesting because it was when I went away for a week and a half last month, and we'll be going away in another 2 weeks for 2 weeks. When you start doing this on your own and you're seeing results, you realize like, oh wait, now taking time off is almost the stress thing. Instead of, oh great, I get a vacation, Now, obviously I'm still very grateful and feel fortunate to be able to take vacations to other countries. Though in this case, I'll be doing some work while I'm there. Music work, hopefully. Or at least connecting and developing some music work. So, this could be a bit of a thing developing, but yeah, it's that stress of like, man, now I have to take time away from all the stuff I'm doing. I might stream from there though. There'll be some downtime. We'll have some family downtime. Alright, where was I? Did a little more writing last night. Off stream. Not streaming. Did some rules, not revision, refreshers. Did go back through the various documents and clean some more stuff up. Where was I? Magic system. It's kind of interesting refreshing myself with the magic system. Like, oh yeah, that's what I wrote. That's what we were doing. So, my usual pitch. So it's a little late in the broadcast, 15 minutes, 20 minutes into the broadcast. From the Tomes, Twitch TV, From the Tomes. If you're on Twitch now, you know where I'm at. If you're not a subscriber on YouTube, it'd be great if you went over and checked out Fox and Board Games on YouTube. And the reverse is true. If you're seeing this on YouTube, feel free to head over to Twitch and join in. Tomorrow night we will have our chat on the GM overdoes it. And by that I mean the GM overdoes it. They're too extra. They write too much. They expect too much. They're too controlling of the situations. I don't know. Maybe they're too freeform. Maybe they sit back and let you do whatever in the game, and you want more direction. I don't know. It'll be. Every time have a chat, some people are talking about these GM experiences they've had as GMs or as players with a GM. So it'll be interesting to see. So for a reference, I think my first stream was almost a year ago, right about now. Maybe another month or two in. Also on social media, Fox and Board Games. And again, if you drop into this and you like what you see, please consider liking, subscribing, following on the various platforms. That really helps me. That has led me to be able to do this as more than just, well, when I get around to it at night, I'll work on this game. You know, doing a game, doing an RPG and a game company is something I've always wanted to do, and I finally have some facility to do it. And hopefully we will. I'll be able to do that as more or less of a mainstay gig, and I've been able to do it with your help so far. And you can help most by just following, liking, sharing this stream if you like it. So, with that, looking at the magic system again a little bit today. I don't think anything's going to be a big surprise. Might not even be a long stream. I might come back on tonight. Might try some Tuesday evening and Tuesday during the day. Break it up a little bit. Big job was backing everything up last night. Realized I hadn't done a full hard drive backup of all this data in quite a while, so I did that last night too. I've been saving it to Google Docs, but I'd rather have backups of my own. I did forget to put legendary effects in the cheat sheet. The chance of a character performing a legendary effect right off the bat is extremely slim without hurting themselves. I did build it in so you can hurt yourselves if you try to overexert your magic. I figured that was sword and sorcery. That was more sword and sorcery than saying, no, you just can't do it at this level of magic use. Okay. Card creation. Magic Reference Guide. I've changed the name from cheat sheet to Magic Reference Guide. Put this in here. If someone wants to try a legendary effect, they can. They might kill themselves. Obviously, very powerful, established, and NPC sorcerers are, in fact, quite capable of legendary effects, but I've also codified some of the language since I wrote this document, so I guess I should go back and do that. Make sure all the language aligns. Back to the chapter 1 document. See what I got going on here. As I've started codifying the game, I'm relying more on the properly written versus previously written chapters. For example, here I really break down how the dice work and how the modifiers work, and I haven't really transferred that to the other rules document yet, because that rules document is going to be rolled into a whole section on rules. So I'm trying not to alter that document enough to not create confusion, but let's see, challenge rating modifiers. So I guess I should be using this language. +2 challenge roll modifier versus a -3 on the roll, right? Because I think we also determined, I know Blake's just kind of on in the background working today, he's got some other stuff, but like he said, it's really confusing to have to subtract and add when you're rolling 8 dice and then modifying from there. So it's easier just to modify a set number. So I think I have to change that language in the magic section. Now, again, the magic section is not by any stretch of the imagination done, but at the same time, people are looking at it now to play test. So, challenge rating starts at a 12, plus minus a 14. Okay, so I think I have to change that language. Right. Got a few more viewers. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Really appreciate it. Say hi if you'd like. If not, it's fine too. Except for Blake. He doesn't say hi. I guess I should write it here and then drop it into the cheat sheet / quick reference guide for magic, which is 3 pages. It's not very quick, but hey. Normally, all right. So I also have some redundancy. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense now. Makes no sense now. Guess I'll share the document I'm working on, right? That would help. Oh, where's my chat window? Oh, there it is. Over there. It moved. Guess I can enlarge this a little bit. Something like that. There we go. So pushing magic. Do this method a higher than what is normally allowed by their path rating. Whenever I'm doing examples, I always find it so much easier to just say what I want to say instead of trying to, I'm going to make this fancy. No, just say it. Just say you're pushing your magic. That's it. I think some of our most famous writers, we tend to think of really famous writers as this overly verbose and poetic. But if you read something like Mark Twain, who, by the way, is my favorite author, it's a surprise to some because they assume it's going to be Stephen King or Clive Barker or, Tolkien probably wrote my single favorite book, most formative book. But Samuel Clemens is by far the best author, I think one of the best authors in history. Definitely the greatest American author in history. And in fact, my early years in college, I was going to be an American Lit major, focusing on early American literature, like Samuel Clemens. Hey, Curzon, I just got your note that you're there lurking while you're doing stuff. Cool, thanks as always. I mean, of course, everything I write tends to be fantastic, and most of it's horror. But my main inspiration really comes from one of my main inspirations comes from Mark Twain. But he pretty much said, just say it. Don't go out of your way to make it so verbose that people don't know what you're talking about, and that's part of the reasons why I do like them. Oh, well, that's interesting. So in the main magic system document, I don't even have the same rules I have in the cheat sheet, the quick reference guide on pushing magic. Wow. Ouch. How come none of you guys caught that? Probably because I handed you, 120 pages worth of stuff to look at. Who the hell has time for that? Um. Hmm. It's this way that I have just raising the challenge rating is actually more concise than adding and subtracting. The adding and subtracting presents what I would consider almost a more quote unquote realistic, if we can talk about magic being realistic, magic casting being realistic according to sorcery tropes, sword and sorcery tropes. Where if the, yeah, so this actually makes more sense. So we can't, so it would always be an average would become a major, and then a major would become a legendary. I better open up that quick reference guide, because I think my legendary effects have 20 plus. Okay, that's the same. Mellow effect is on the last one. Yeah, that doesn't even make sense now that I look at it. It's tough. Tough call which one to use. One's a lot easier. Well, I guess what I would tell a student is if you have two options for modifying a system, and one adds more number juggling, but doesn't actually add anything to the rules or the feel of the game, and one is more in line with the feel of the game but seems simpler, you always go with the one that is simpler and less number crunching, especially in this game, because I'm trying to reduce the amount of number crunch. And I guess if you're rolling less dice and you have a lower path rating, but see, path rating doesn't actually factor in to the die rolls anymore, which is actually very helpful. This actually just cleans everything up. So I had like a whole different set of rules for pushing magic. I wonder how many people watch this feed and think, wow, he's still working on kind of these same things with some advancement. Wow, this is taking him an awfully long time. And well, that's writing. There's a reason why good books, take years to put out. We're not talking about J.R.R. Martin. That's a different discussion, I believe. But especially when you get to this point where it's not just spilling out ideas onto paper and actually working through them, there's a reason why it takes as long as it does. Okay. I just received a message from my good friend Maeve, who pops on occasionally or has popped on before, about also getting some other of my media things in line. She does media promotion and coordination for quite a number of causes, mostly nonprofit, but she does do, not giant corporations, but she's done small companies and stuff, trying to get everything all running and coordinated. Additional risk and cost. Attempting this only if the effect increases by one in terms of both successful. Let's use the right terminology, right? Let me just scroll up. This counts as one normal. Required to retain essence. Glad I'm double checking this. So back to pushing magic. I don't think I need that anymore, because I think that's a redundant rule at this point. Now to determine how physically detrimental we're going to make it. Because that's the way I have it written. Each die that fails see, actually two separate systems and two separate documents. So I guess I better make a decision, right? Path rating of 1. Again, this is just too complicated. I think I actually streamlined it in the cheat sheet and then never transferred it back over. Silly me. Let's see. Time to go back to the core document and see what I wrote about that. Fatigue. Non-lethal damage. double the rate. Double the rate. So what I'm working on now is and of course, this leads me to start cleaning up non-lethal damage. As I think I've mentioned, this is like this cascade effect. You change or update one rule in one document, and then you realize, oh wait, I haven't really aligned everything in other documents, especially the player handouts. It's pretty important now that I'm kind of starting to open this up to playtesting. Okay. Alright, now I think I'm ready to go back to determine how pushing magic damage works. Go back to the system document. Some of these are also things we only lightly tested in the extended playtest where they came in at the end. So again, I didn't necessarily go and update. Cast. That's a much more streamlined system than what I had before. Save that. Greetings to the few new viewers who just popped in. Continuing to tone things up in the wake of the first character creation session for a in-person playtest, the first full in-person playtest of the game that doesn't involve pre-generated characters and has come into play since the extensive rules revisions over the past year and a half. And I'm, of course, now going through as I'm preparing the handouts for the players and finding all these discrepancies in the rules I have to edit, particularly the magic system, which has been an ongoing, unwieldy contest, as are most magic or special effect systems in games. We talk a good deal about that in the one chat we had on magic in games. It's basically a way to shortcut the system. Magic allows you to do things that normally aren't allowed in rules, and that always creates this ridiculous level of complication. It's awful. Don't do it. Don't add magic to your games. I think the two players who wanted to use magic in the playtest, I was kind of like, well, just be prepared, because there's a lot of stuff there. Okay, so I think I have this pushing magic, which is casting magic beyond your ability. So like if you're a D&D'er, it'd be like you're a second level character, but you can somehow now cast a fourth level magic spell. Well, it'll hurt you, or it may hurt you. It'll probably hurt you. I'm allowing you to do it. Those of you who played the game know magic's extremely powerful and extremely fluid. And I think this was our compromise, was to come up with based on your path rating, to come up with what you could actually cast and what you couldn't. And you can try to cast higher than that. So you still are powerful, but you run a risk. Alright, so let me jump back to save this document. I think I just have to drop this whole section into the reference guide. And then just cut out some verbiage to make it a little bit less clumsy, less cluttered. Go back through and do a really careful check and make sure all the systems align in the reference guide. Now you see how careful I'm being? This is why it kills me when I pick up a game book or any other written material and they're like these really blatant editing mistakes. And I know it happens. And I'm sure there'll be stuff that'll come out in this game that I'll be putting out. Oh, this is the errata. But sometimes they're like really basic stuff. I'm kind of like, if you guys had just gotten an editor. Okay. Pushing magic. So let me jump over to that system. That document, rather. By the way, anyone who's watching who has an Amazon Prime account, until the end of September, there are free subscriptions available. I don't have a lot of rewards or badges or anything in place for subscriptions yet. I will get to that. I know Blake did it. PJ did it. I have to get Diana to do it because she has a Prime account. So, just saying. Get a free subscription. It helps me. Eventually you'll get some cool stuff. Custom content or something. I'm also going to be discussing this weekend with Maeve, hopefully, about a Patreon. She's had very high success with her clients managing Patreon accounts. And I'll be talking about that. I had one for my artwork. I know some people were subscribers. A few people who are on here are subscribers. I just, at that time, couldn't commit to it. Obviously, now I can. Because I have the time to. And going forward, I intend to make the time. So... essence. The challenger required. Check essence. Okay. Additionally, any failed die roll inflicts 1 fatigue on my wire. I think that's. I think I have to keep most of that into the quick reference document. So the goal is when I get back, I have two, as some of you who've watched know, I have two stories for this game. 3 total. One's already been more or less completed. I just have to update it to the current rules and update the playtest characters to the current rules. And then I have 2 more scenarios, each set in a different city, that I intend to run with, we'll run open in open fashion on Roll20, and if there are people in person who I can get to and run the game with, I'm going to be running some open rolling play tests when I get back, in addition to possibly having, and again, this is part of what I have to really speak to my consultant about as far as time allotment and energy investment. Possibly run a 1 Call of Cthulhu scenario and 1 D&D 5th Ed scenario for money on Roll20. It rhymes. Just to test the waters and see how it goes, because it's been suggested by more than one person I should consider running professionally. Let's see. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you again, sir. How's your story writing coming? You're having some ideas last time. Well, in other words, on Roll20, basically charge an admission fee to run games for people. There's quite a few people doing it. I've been doing this kind of thing a very long time, so I thought about throwing it out there. Not necessarily this game, because this game's still being play tested. So I would feel kind of weird like taking money from people to run a game that's still in development. Hey, I know big game companies do it all the time. Pro DMing, yeah. But I've thought about running like one Call of Cthulhu game and have set up one Call of Cthulhu module, one D&D module, and just run them like once or twice a week. Once a week each, for 4 hours, and see how that goes to supplement the game design stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I have a meeting now. It looks like it's Sunday with a friend of mine who does consulting and management and media management for a number of variety clients. And I want to just get feedback on that. And, you know. Oh, cool. Have you published them? Like put them out there on any platform to publish? Feel free to drop a link if you got it online too. I mean, that's part of what this is for. If people have stuff they want to put out there. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that's the most pure, right? I mean, I've had this conversation with people who have done some pro DMing and are they have, groups where they're not making like big money, but they make, not a small amount of money a week for sitting around running a game online. It's a lot of work, and it's you have to have high preparation level. It's almost like, and I've described it, you have to almost treat it. Now, I know Curzon and I both teach, so it's almost like running a class. You set up like a syllabus of expectation, right, and sign off on expectations, and what Curzon can attest. A lot of my game stuff, has raunchy humor, and that's just me being stupid. But I mean, some of these games that I run have pretty adult content, like especially like the Call of Cthulhu stuff. And I'd have to like make sure players were on board with this. Like one of my former students was telling me about this one game she got into, and she's pretty. I mean, she's out there. She's cool with all kinds of weird stuff. But it ended up being like this kind of bizarre like torture porn game, and she was like this, like, even though she's like into like horror and weird stuff, she was like kind of like the dude didn't even say like what the content of this game was going to be, and it was a little, even for her, she found it a little creepy, and she's been in territories in which this is not that strange. So it's a really weird thing. Yeah, I mean, I think if you tell people that it's a highly improv game, I think it's fine. And if it's cheap, yeah. I mean, both Curzon and I, like, I really over prepare. This is to our Wednesday night GM overdoes it chat tomorrow night. Like, there are times, and I've talked to Blake about this too while he's working on his game for us. Like, the last game I ran, the Call of Cthulhu game, there was literally like probably 30 pages of stuff the players never even saw, of background on various NPCs and locations and events, historical events in this place. And I'm like, that's a balance, especially if you're doing it for money. You have to kind of sit there and go, like, all right, so what's like the level of cost effectiveness of deep prep? And it's a weird conversation to have because we've always done this as a hobby and we love doing it. And we'll write 30 pages on our stupid NPC, and then, like, okay, but do I really need to spend the time doing that if it's going to effectively cost me money? So it is different. And that's what everybody who has done it pro, who I've talked to, has said, like, but it's a different thing. Because it's not, you have to then weigh everything against, like, is this worth the time I'm putting into it? And am I enjoying it enough to do it as a job? Now, I mean, this past summer has proven to me that I'm perfectly happy sitting here writing content and trying to get it out there. And I have to definitely, once I get back from Germany, speed it up. And I'll be spending more time online each day writing. I've kept it about 2 hours, 3 hours a day. But I'm definitely going to up it. Even if I'm not online, I'm going to up the writing count. And I have to, because it's got to get done. But But yeah, then it is a job, right? So it's like it is different. And let's face it, with my D&D group, especially once we've been playing for a year, I could just sit down and run a game with very little prep because I knew all the characters, I knew the players. It is different if you're gonna sit down and run this for other people and take their money. I know this from doing art, right? Like I can sit and work on photos all day for myself and get each little piece of the photo or painting or whatever I'm working on or graphic design work or whatever, like just as much as I want to, make it perfect. Man, but clients, they just want it. They're like, I don't care. Just want it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you got a full time job and you got a family, I mean, I have a full time job. Like I said, I'm on the sabbatical now, and then eventually I want to kind of maybe transition out of academia into the game and creative stuff. But yeah, I don't have a family, right? I have two cats and a dog, and a partner who honestly takes care of most of that. So you know, I do have a certain level of money I'd have to make from I hit my basic bills. Oh yeah, like I said, I really, especially with D&D, I can improv. Yeah, no, I even what was funny because you said that we took this total path in that game that you did not even like think we would take. I must admit, I had great satisfaction making them crawl through the sewers. That was a bit of fuck blankery on my part because I was like, I want to make them crawl through the sewers. I can see my character doing that too, though. Like, okay, you guys think I'm a joke? Here, let's crawl through the sewers. Now, who's the joke? So, I think if it's a setting you're familiar with, and I think it depends even on the pro level what they are expecting. If the players have an expectation, a setup expectation, I think it's fine to do improv. I think you're gonna have to improv. I mean, let's face it, a lot of these games are improv. Like even in Blake's game, he said he didn't expect us to go out and scout and find that camp. Yeah, I was pretty thrilled with that. The funniest thing is we could have just walked in. I was convinced that moss was something horrendously bioengineered. I'm like, I'm not walking through that. I've played enough D&D games where I was like, yeah, no, no, we're not walking through the obvious open entrance that appears to be unguarded. I was kind of like the night in Warhammer where I was like, we must hurry up and split up, and everybody did it. I was like, oh my god, we're actually gonna split up, and sure as we're all gonna die, and we don't, and we almost did. Let's see, augmentation. I'm just double checking what I'm doing now. Is I'm just double checking my two sheets, both the quick reference sheet and the actual sheet. Let's see, augmentation. Ooh, another discrepancy. Oh man, this is what I get for writing stuff weeks or months apart. So like here, which what we're talking about, the reference guide. On the reference guide, it's augmentations add an additional die, and then I go over to the system document, and augmentations add to the caster's skill. Oh wait, no, maybe I don't. Maybe I have it correct. Yes, all right, no, I did have it correct. I was just looking at the wrong section. I was like, man, I think I used the wrong word someplace, so that's what confused me. Greetings to the additional viewers who just popped in. Feel free to say hi, or not, as you so choose. Augmentation grants additional dice. So for anyone wondering what I'm looking at, this is, again, I'm just I'm picking through the magic system and some of the additions I made to the magic system really late in the last year and a half long playtest that we didn't get to really look at. Pushing magic as well as magical devices, which are augmentations of some sort to aid in casting. So this game doesn't have a lot of magic items as we think of them in D&D, but people who use magic have devices that aid in the casting of magic. Focuses. I think I kind of stole this. I mean, I know it's been used in a lot of games, but I remember old Shadowrun had that was like the big thing, like the various focuses you could get to enhance your casting in Shadowrun. And I kind of borrowed it. I mean, it's not like it's totally original. But there are two types. There's augmentations which add to the die pool, the casting die pool, and they're more static. They exist in the environment. For example, a pool that if you stand in it, it enhances your water magic. Or in the playtest, the island that appeared in the middle of the lake that the Naga was, or the Nagajara was in. Naga, basically. It was a Naga. Mythical Naga. If you had casting nature magic on that island in that temple, it was a huge augmentation focus. And then there's focuses, which give you additional points of skill on your die rolling. And that allows you to create effects that you normally would not normally be able to create. So yeah, I guess we're gonna see how that works in the upcoming playtest. Can only be used with this. I think these rules align to both. Let me save these documents. Skill for the rest of the encounter. Do I say rest of the encounter here, or do I have a different descriptor? The terminology is the big thing, because it's got enough unique terminology in it that I have to keep it consistent. Yes, okay. I did have those rules in there. Yeah, but back to what we were saying before, it's with the pro DM thing, it's like, then yeah, how much of it then is about you and your game and having fun with it versus pleasing clients, right? And it is a weird thing. And I guess if you get a group that you become really familiar with and you know them well and you really jive as player and game master, I guess it becomes a lot more fluid. But to start, I mean, you got to make sure that the group actually enjoys what you're doing and you're treating them as, treating them as people having fun. Minor augmentation. Well, I guess I'll be backing all this stuff up again after I'm done here, because I've made changes in just about everything. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. So I was saying before, the augmentation is, I kind of got sidetracked. Augmentations, magical augmentations, are things that are already in the environment that a magician coming by can use, or spellcaster coming by can use and enhance magic with. And it could be objects, it could be a location, it could be speaking certain words at a certain time, and it adds extra dice to the pool. Whereas the focus is something that's specific to that caster. That magician would have it crafted, or would craft it, or know how to use it. And it's anything from, you know, like I give some interesting descriptions here. If it's an item, it could be anything from, a charm on your neck that you touch when you cast magic, and it gives you additional bonus to your magic skill, temporary bonus. But then it could go to an action where you have to say something and wave your hands, and that gives you an additional bonus because it's not as easy to always do. Then the location is even more powerful, but it's a fixed location. What I even mentioned here, and I was kind of amused, I'd forgotten I'd written this, that you know, could even be part of the magician's body. And Justin's character is a Varinka, and if you've read any of the game stuff or remember any of the game stuff, the Varinka are the kind of Whately-esque cultish magicians, culture/cult of magicians who live in the ruined city, the once abandoned city down in the southern mountains. And he was already saying that he thought his character is like middle aged and he's starting to get like some weird features. One of those weird features could be his focus. Maybe he has like a goat horn or something. I don't know. Maybe nothing that severe, but his nose is like kind of long. He said he was thinking maybe his nose was kind of long and beak like. Maybe he has to touch his nose or something. Or his nose is the focus. I don't know. Something weird like that. Still on coffee. Gotta get up and run out and do a few things early this morning. I'm just getting up to the rest of my coffee. Wanted to come back for my scheduled stream. I might pop on again tonight around 7:30 for an hour or two. Might start doing kind of staggered streams on some days. Tomorrow night, of course, is our chat. When the GM overdoes it. We'll see. Haven't done much with assisted castings yet either. Where you coerce or recruit other people on your path to help you cast more powerful spells. That's a whole system we never even really got into. Maybe that'll be something interesting to test out in the upcoming scenario. We have 2 casters. While I'm at it, let me pop open the witchcraft document and take a look and see what I wrote on that over a year ago. Diana's character is a witch. So for those who may or may not have followed the game progress elsewhere, there are 3 forms of magic. There's primeval, which if you want to say druid magic. There's sorcery, which is sorcery, deals with dark arts and all that other kind of stuff. Then there is, of course, witchcraft, which is the most abstract, maybe, out of the 3 that hasn't really been tested. And it deals with things like psychic abilities, far-seeing, scrying, and I mean, that's all really difficult to do in a game anyway. They're the only ones that can actually heal in a game. There are some life effects that Tom used that allowed people to heal more rapidly, naturally, but this is actual magical healing, and they're the only people in the game who can do this. And it's kind of interesting because no one's really. Again, we haven't played with a large variety of people yet, and that's my goal, my next goal, of course. And there's the divination, which is probably the most powerful thing they can do. because they have sort of, kind of, mind reading too. Whereas a character, a sorcerer with subjugation, can make you say things. Witches are the only ones who can actually look into your eyes and pick out secrets. And again, this is all. I want to test it because it's so difficult. I mean, I know there's a lot of this stuff in like some of the other games that are out there that I've played, and it's always so tough to adjudicate and to role play. And people have to be like really on board with this type of game. I forgot the healing magic has its own system, basically. And again, this is all probably going to be streamlined, hopefully, after we play it. To remind myself what I'm getting into. Also, I have to look at this and see how much this can screw up my story. If she decides to use the scrying or the divination, how much information can she short circuit in my story? Information flow can she short circuit in the story? But that's part of it too. Alright, so that's in the magic system. Do I even have assisted casting? I don't have it in the document. I guess I should include a little bit about it. I guess it's actually a good time to sit and review these rules too. Yeah, seriously, Blake. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a lot of the stuff you used to do with vampire or mage, where you have to kind of measure out like what can I give away in a fashion in this kind of cryptic, fashion that still keeps the story going but actually gives them useful information. And that's always the tough part of running anything like that. Let's get 4 successes or lose in essence. I'll be right back. I have a a phone call that I might have to take. Oh, never mind. I guess we're going to leave a message. No voicemail, so it couldn't have been that important. Said a lot of this has to do with researching and constructing magic rituals. I don't think the players need to know that in their reference document. Even the assisted casting, I don't have multiple people with the same magical path, so they probably won't be initiating any assisted casting, and we can only just pull those rules out if/when they are recruited to do so by an NPC, which actually is probably not a bad idea. Let's see. Take another skim through this. I think I'll call it in for the day, at least for now. Because I might pop on again later. So I've also thought about, in addition to obviously releasing this in terms of a PDF and probably a print run of the book, creating a an online version that is interactive. And I don't know exactly what technology I would use to do that yet. If probably an app version, but also a web version, because I'm thinking about the current trends with a lot of gamers, especially gamers coming into it generationally younger than what I am, and how a lot of them don't want to sit and read a whole rule book. And yes, like us old guys, old school guys think this is like, well, they should just sit and read the rule book, but they don't. So I'm wondering if having some kind of sectional reference. Now I know D&D Beyond, of course, D&D Beyond has a lot of funding, has the really great pop-up feature and all this kind of stuff. But I'm wondering if putting this out in some format, I don't know. I've kind of been debating that. Because I've noticed even my regular group does so much better if I hand them sections of information that are necessary at the time than if I just say, well, go read this in the book, you know? I mean, part of it is that old game books are also so absolutely not conducive to the flow of reading, you know? And I'm wondering if that's part of the key too, is to just create a rule book that's more narrative in its final form, that has the content. So yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking of a well. Yeah, I guess that would be a way to do it. Would have the PDF, a really constructed good PDF. Um, I don't know that. I mean, know a little bit about it, but I don't know that much about it. I know. I know an app would be really involved and expensive. And unfortunately, the one or two people I know who have always said to me, "Well, if you have one of your games together and you want to do an app, they have not proven overly reliable when it's come to completion." So yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to have someone tell me that they're going to do this, or worse yet, have me pay them something, and then it never gets done, or it gets done 5 years from now. I'd rather not do that. But yeah, I'm thinking of the PDF might be a good way to do it. I've got one or two programmers I know from school who might be willing to do it, but again, the whole issue would be getting this done in such a way that it would be done in time and effective and well crafted. By the way, I think Blake and Tom will be amused that the one thing Justin noticed was my comment about the region where his character's from being known for their figs. And he's like, maybe I'll be a fig farmer. I was like, this would be perfect. This would be a perfect way to carry on the legacy of the former game. That your character comes to the northern part of the land to trade figs. That would be great. Yeah, absolutely hilarious. Goats. Yeah, we did notice. He did notice the goats too. So then we told him the story of Neil's poor goat. Hey, I didn't kill his horse. Could have killed his horse, even though he did leave it to die several times. I was like, some horse master you are. Yeah, I will see. But that's the thing. The companion is in fact targetable, right? I mean, it can fight in combat, so it can get killed, and the goat was kind of just an add-on. It was more of a cosmetic pet, but it was just appropriate that there was a little bit of extra horror to the scenario added, with the goat being the goat that you had toted all the way for months at a time getting killed. But yeah, the horse, I'm like, dude, like you even said, you were like, dude, your horse is still on the ship. I'm like, and I was thinking like, wow, this is gonna end up badly. Yeah, so I have a section there on custom magic effects. Oh, I thought I started that conversation earlier in the document. So let's see. I should probably be before all the focus and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. So again, it's an organizational thing I have to clean up. Let's see. I don't think I had when I started the document had concrete rules for custom effects. No, no, definitely not. Bartender looks at Boar. We don't serve your kind here. I mean, if it's in combat and it gets killed, it gets killed. I mean, that's the reality. But yeah, again, I've never been one to sit and target people's, you know, pets in games. All right, so I guess I'll put the custom effects right below where I say custom effects. That would probably be the smart thing to do. I guess I will plug in my external drive and do some backups. update some of this stuff. Probably the smart thing to do. Alright, I'm going to start the saving and backup process. Before I forget. See, I don't think I updated that. I think I updated that. I still call it beta rules in here? Yes. Oh, I better do the PDF of that too. Alright, open that back up. Rules. PDF. Export. Pop. So let's see. Beta rules. Playtest documents. Reading. There it is. To be organized and actually put the date on the document. All right, friends, I think I'm going to start wrapping it up for now. As I said, I'm undecided. I've got a few other projects I need to get done, but if I do some writing tonight, I might pop back on this evening. do a quick backup here. Actually, I'm going to find out where these are on this drive before I start dropping stuff. I do have a beta rules document there. Okay. Place. Magic reference magic. I think anything else I changed was literally just like a word here and there. Considering we're not nearly at a draft phase yet, an edited phase yet, I'm not going to worry so much about that. All right. So, wrap it up with the usual. Thanks for coming in and watching From the Tomes on Twitch. If you're not a subscriber over at YouTube, go over and search Fox and Board Games and drop a subscription there. We'll be having more YouTube content coming your way in the coming months, YouTube exclusive content. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to go over and check out the Twitch stream and follow along with that for the live chat as we've had today, which was some fun chat. Foxandboardgames.com is where you'll find all the updates on the game I'm working on, Tales of the Harrowed Land, and of course, Fox and Board Games on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks a huge amount for subscribing, liking, following along. The support is what keeps this going. And I may pop back on tonight, but if you would like to participate in our chat tomorrow night, it will be on The GM Overdoes It. So it's kind of just an open chat that I hold on Wednesday nights. And this one will involve GM, everything from GM over preparation, over expectation to overreach, and any combination thereof that you can think of. So it should be a fun chat. Feel free to stop back in and give your stories and opinions. So thanks a lot for chatting, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later in the week.